whether it's $200,000 or $2 million, we sell the most precious, valuable commodity there is. I mean, it's home. There's no more powerful word in the English language. It's where the things that mean the most to you in life, the good memories, the bad memories, but really, we are blessed to be able to provide that to people. And so it's a big deal.
Down the journey, we're going to talk about sealing the deal, which is really about once we've contracted with them, sometimes we kind of go, whew, that's great, we sold them, right? Sales is like, yeah, we sold them. But we know our job is not really done until we can get them over the finish line and closed. So that's a lot of what today's topic is about. So it's called Sealing the Deal, Home Stretch Solutions Buyers and Builders Love. So both constituents. So I just want to start with everyone loves great sex, right? Now I did that because half of you are, yeah, it is. I did that because half of you are already on your phones. Like, you need to stop that. And I thought, well, if I just put up sex, then, you'll like maybe pay attention. But really what I meant was sex, like customer experience. Get it? Like sex, CEX. And that's really what the session is all about. And I hate to tell you this, but this is not sexy at all. This whole concept of paper folders and sometimes how we take them through option selection, how we deliver through the process, it's really not good. And this builder I have in the Builder Witness Protection Program, so we don't shame them. But the good news is you can sell a lot of Sharpies when you have all this paper and you're just crossing stuff off going, oh, that's not available now. Oh no, we're changing this, et cetera. But we can do better. And the reason that we really want to do better, and you can't go anywhere anymore without hearing about customer experience and how important it is and how vital it is and all of this good stuff. And it used to be that those of us on the front line really cared about customer experience, because otherwise we couldn't get the sale, or we'd have an unhappy customer, and who wants to deal with an unhappy customer? It was kind of relegated to those departments and those functions. Now today, CEOs care. Your C-suite really cares. And the reason is because it has huge business ramification. And in our business, it's really important to us because, again, just because we get that contract does not mean they're going to make it to close. And we really struggle with that. So with all that said, we have an amazing set of panelists. So I'm going to ask our panelists, and we'll start with you, Tim, just to do 30 seconds of who are you, where you come from, and that'd be great.
My name's Tim Bailey, and I would always for years said I was from Avid Ratings, but last October we got acquired by ECI Software Solutions. So now I'm Director of Operations for ECI for the Avid business unit. But my background before Avid, I've been in this industry since I was 15 years old. My dad was a site super, so he put me to work at 15 as a laborer on construction sites, paid my way through college, university, and I've never left the industry. I was a VP of operations for a builder, you'd probably pick up from my accent, in Canada.
All right.
Yeah, I'm Mike Moxley. I'm the president and founder of ThreadKore. A little bit different route. I started off my career, I'm a tax nerd by training. I did about 10 years in M&A. Working on big deals, and then went into a home builder as their CFO. Was blown away with how little information we had to run a fairly large company, and so I ended up leaving home building to go into software and started a ERP for home builders.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Paul Robbins of Hyphen Solutions. It's great to be here with these gentlemen, and certainly looking forward to this. I'm out of Dallas, Texas. I joined Hyphen in 2015. It was a very big departure for me because I'd been in security software. I've really enjoyed the industry and the people in it. It's a very different from where I came from, and it's just good to be with people and interact the way we do here. So I really enjoy it.
Yeah, hi, my name is John Manrique. I'm Senior Vice President of Marketing with Kolter Homes. And actually this year is my 30th, this month I should say, is my 30th year in the business. And started as a copywriter when human beings actually wrote most of what you read. From a marketing perspective, it's like, why is this guy talking about warranty? It's huge. Exactly what you just touched on with customer experience. The greatest source you're going to get as a builder, obviously, is referral. and they're not going to refer you if you are not taking care of them properly.
All right, so I'm going to slide the clicker down. Here, let's pass that down to Tim, who's going to kick it off for us.
Perfect. All right. All right, so to kick it off, just being here for a couple days and seeing all the amazing technology that's out here and all the innovations right now, it made me just sort of think for a second, if you're a builder out there that's not embracing the latest technology and latest innovations, it's almost like using the hammer and handsaw when all your competitors are using the power tools nowadays. So I mentioned we got acquired by ECI Software Solutions back in October, and even inside that, the ecosystem that ECI has, I was just blown away by how much tech is in there that can improve efficiencies, profitability, but even more importantly, because I have this, again, customer experience background, to stitch the home buyer journey together. And because it's so fragmented, which I'm going to talk about, but stitching that together is so important. But I'm going to lean into one part of the home buyer journey that I'm super passionate about right now. And I don't know, anyone in the room, does this shock you? Customer experience drops dramatically after closing? Anyone shocked by that idea? All right, we've assumed it in our industry for so long, but we lose 26% of home buyers between the time they ink the deal and their first year living in the house. A quarter of these home buyers,
That's crazy. We work so hard to get them. We pay marketing to get them, and then sales. It's like, ugh.
They get like 97%. Yeah, I'd recommend my builder when they ink the deal.
Yeah.
But then you talk to them a year after they've lived in that house, and it drops down to 71%. So over a quarter of these folks just fall off somewhere through the customer journey. And the hard part is I feel like as an industry, sometimes we just accept it and we market harder. We'll just market more. But this is the customer journey. So every year we do a state of customer experience report. And so this is the most recent data that just came out at the Builder Show in Vegas. And this is mapping the overall rating of the builder. So a high level customer satisfaction metric along the journey from sales right through to the end of the first year. And I've got 5 years of trend lines up there. They mimic each other year after year. We gained a bit of ground later in the stages. So the purple line is the most recent year. Lost a bit of ground in sales, lost a bit of ground in design, but then we did come back and make some grounds in construction, move-in, and some marginal gains by year end as well. And why does any of this matter is because of this next slide here. This is the same data, but plotted with the would recommend score. So if you're looking at the would you recommend your builder score along the customer journey, this is how it's plotting out. And again, it almost maps the overall the previous slide. But we're seeing, again, we lost a bit of ground in the early stages, sales, design. We made back some ground when we got through to construction and move-in. We made back some ground in year-end as well. I'm not too stoked about that, though, because last year was an all-time low in our database for the year-end score. So on the would recommend score, that was like wicked low. We're now sitting at 71.45 at year-end. And why? I also shaded that green bar across the top there. So that's everyone knows what the Net Promoter Score is, NPS. That's the promoter zone. So the 90 to 100 spot there that's the promoter zone. So if you're in that zone, those are your advocate customers. Once you tip below a 90, like a 9 or 9 and 10 on a 10-point scale, 70 to 90 is considered the passive range. Below a 70, which were my marks in university, is actually a detractor. So but so once you drop below a 70, you'd think, oh, I'm a B minus, that's not terrible, but that's actually a detractor customer. They're the ones that are gonna be probably hurting your brand online. So when I look at this and I think, what is the impact of builders on revenue, lost revenue we're leaving on the table here? The costs, before, again, I was VP of Ops for a builder before joining Avid. My worst customers were my most expensive customers too. They just beat you down on prices and service costs. But the big one today is reputation damage. And what does this cost to our reputations? Because these are digital buyers today. So if they go online, and we're going to talk about that in another session today, but if our reputation shows up as a 2-star builder, they're just clicking past us. We're not making the short list. So what is the challenge that I see? Part of it, as I mentioned, the journey is so fragmented for these homeowners. We try and stitch it together, but it's always been fairly siloed and broken up. The other part is the younger the home buyer is, the more they expect digital tools, the more they want to be self-serve. So 80% of millennials want digital tools when they're buying from a builder. There's a few trifecta here. They also don't know how to manage and maintain these new homes when they get into them. I grew up in this industry, and when I think, how often have you cleaned your dishwasher filter? Well, never. You just replace your dishwasher every 7 to 10 years. But so 38% of these homeowners don't know how to maintain and manage these new homes they move into. At the end of the day, over a third of them are just dissatisfied with the buyer experience and the home ownership experience. And I always say, these are short-time buyers for your brand. They are long-time owners of your brand, though. So it's, we had this short buying experience and this long brand experience with your home after that. What we do know about today's home buyers, too, is that they expect instant access. The CEO of Xerox said impatience is a virtue today. Not patience is a virtue. It's impatience is a virtue. They also want unparalleled convenience. So I always bang the drum, ease and convenience, ease and convenience. That's your competitive advantage these days. Make it easy, make it convenient. And they also want an experience that, one, respects their time. They don't want to sit on hold. They don't want to wait 24 to 48 hours anymore for an email back from the warranty team. And also they want value at every interaction. So if we're going to make them stay home for a half a day for a warranty service call, let's make sure that we're enriching their experience. We're teaching them something more about their home, how to change their dishwasher, clean the dishwasher filter, stuff like that. So at least adding value at that interaction, because what's happened is we put them in this intense, I always joke, it's like marriage. We court, we're doing all the marketing and courting up here, and then, we go through this intense relationship and we're seeing each other a lot, and, we're selections and your construction frame walkthrough. Now you got to be here for a pre-delivery inspection. Then you move in and they're like, my builder's seeing other people. This isn't cool. They expected this relationship to continue at that same intensity level.
Or your builder's ghosting you.
Or totally ghosting me. And they expect the same level of relationship after moving, and that's, I think, where we're falling short. Yeah. And I think we can't staff up enough for it. And I think one of the things that helps is technology. So again, not to product pitch a lot, but this is one example. There's others in the industry, but HomeKeep is just it puts their home in their pocket for them. It digitizes their home information, so it's a catalog of their home products. It's got their owner's manuals in there. It's got all their selection stuff loaded up in there. The nice part with it too, though, is it registers their products for warranty. Then they know if there's any recalls that come through. It becomes almost, I always hate to say it, but like the Carfax for the home, though. It sticks with the home. And it also, what we've done is it customizes a maintenance program for them. So selective to their geography, to their home, teaches them how to operate that damn home so that they're not calling warranty service all the time to do it. Where it gets really cool, though, too, is we've actually tied it into a warranty service product as well now. So HomeKeep now connects to this next thing, which is called Avid Warranty. And this was our first foray into AI. So everyone's heard of AI bet now, but it actually works. We trained this model on over 1.4 million actual homeowner warranty requests to date. So this language model has been trained on how the verbiage comes through to warranty service teams. We also then ingested the NAHB construction performance guidelines, so then we can triage according to that. And the purpose of this tool is just to take the lift off the warranty service team. I know when I was building back in the day, my warranty service team would often get things like, I've got a nail pop. I've got caulking that's separating along my stair stringer. I've got a crack in my basement floor. I've got Midwest Builder with condensation in my windows in wintertime. This is a defective house. And it's not. These are just maintenance issues. Reduce your humidity. That's not a big enough caulking gap to worry about, or we'll recaulk it, things like that. So it's been designed, Avid Warranty has been designed to really, first off, engage homeowners. Again, they want 24/7 access, give it to them. Let's use technology to give it to them. Triage is a big one, though. So it's just like the emergency room. The homeowner request comes in. Well, there's different routes that should go. And so is it truly an emergency? Okay, let's direct it to the protocol the builder has for the emergency. Is it a manufacturer's issue? Let's direct that consumer to the manufacturer, Frigidaire, Whirlpool. Is it actually a homeowner maintenance or lack of maintenance issue? Let's teach them. Let's hook them to HomeKeep, show them robust content and learning videos and training videos. Or at the end of the day, is it actually a maintenance issue or a homeowner, a home builder warranty issue? Then let's just create the punch list ticket. Let's get that into the ERP or punch list manager, whatever you're using at that point. But it just, again, gives us the ability to take the lift off your warranty service team. What we're seeing is, I always look at technology as a force multiplier. I don't think it'll replace people. I think people are the confidence multiplier, but I think technology is a force multiplier. So if there's areas where you can see repetitive things that you can scale or efficiencies, big one is consistency, reliability, consistent answers. That's where things like AI really can take the lift off your team. Builders, just for case study stuff, the builders that have adopted this are seeing about a 30 to 40% reduction in the inbound work that their service teams have to address then. Because again, with AI, you can ingest all this robust content, video, text, voice. So even if it is a warranty issue, at the end of the day, before you even roll a truck, you know the whole context of what you're rolling a truck for at that point. And the other beauty with AI is it continues to learn. So again, I just mentioned we have about just over 1.4 million homeowner requests in the system. But with every request that comes in, it learns and grows and learns and grows. So that's the beauty with AI is it continues to learn and grow. I joke, it's like having your very best warranty service rep available to your customers 24/7, 365 days of the year. And again, I just think this is such a massive opportunity in our industry to improve that post-move-in stage. We focus so many dollars on upstream, and I don't think that can't go away. And there's only so many dollars to spend, but that's where I think technology on the back end here, the post-move-in, can really take that lift off. And I just if we don't do it, this is the last thing a customer remembers about your brand. They're living in that home every day, a short-term buyer or a long-term owner. And a bad impression with today's digital consumers, a bad impression left today is just going to become part of a builder's reputation tomorrow. So I'm going to wrap with that. I don't know if I stayed on time or not.
You're
but I think,
perfect.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Moxley.
So I'm a little less on slides and more on storytelling because, well, I'm not creative enough to put together slides. So the big part that I thought was really interesting when I was in the home building space was exactly what was just shown. It's like you get all this hype and everybody gets so excited about building their house. Ideally, you've put together these well thought out design studios. You're offering things that excite a client. They get all excited about that. And then it goes out to the field and it's just another house. And there's this big fall off. And I remember years ago, I was sitting in with our COO at the time. This was back when I was in home building. And I looked at him and I was like, I've met your team. I know all these guys. It is remarkable to me that they can tell the difference between 50 different white quartzes. To me, they all look the same. And the guy looked at me at that moment and he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, I mean, our customers go in and they select all these different quartz colors and all these different tiles. And it's just great that they know all of them. And he's like, they don't know any of them. So, well, how do they not know what products they're going in and signing off on? And he said, well, they know that they're signing off on countertops. And I was like, well, that seems like a big deficiency. And he's like, no, we just have to trust our trades. And then I looked at the trades and some of them are great and they're hugely professional and other ones maybe showed up yesterday and are now in the trade. And that didn't give me a ton of confidence. And then I started looking over our warranty piece and the home buyer experience. And I saw oftentimes we would get feedback from sales. And sales was coming back saying, hey, the client just walked their house and they don't think they have the right countertop. And sitting there, I'm like, well, that's pretty easy correlation to make between the COO saying, yeah, we don't look at the color, and the customer saying, hey, you installed the wrong color. And so that was part of what led to creating ThreadKore, where when you go to sign off on the thing, you got a picture of it so that the people in the field can know what's going on. You take that through to the end of near the end of the home buying experience, when you go through and do the walk list. And it seems like, and this one's not unique, I think a lot of builders see this, the builder, the person in the field, their job seems to be to get it to close. And so they'll walk the house and they come up with all the punch list. And when there are easy items to go through, they knock those out. And 80% of the punch list gets cleared. And then they walk through and they say, oh, well, the cabinets are on back order. We can't get that part. That'll be a warranty item. And they've got this list of items that becomes warranty problems. And we jokingly would always call those the ghost list. And the ghost list comes through and the warranty group walks in and they're 5 days on the job as far as they're concerned, and the client's already upset. And the client's, I've been in this house for a week now and nobody's reached out about when my cabinets are coming in. And the warranty rep is sitting there like, hi, I'm Sally. I don't know about your cabinets. Let me look into this. And they find out that they've inherited this ghost list of things on which they're already behind. And so that relationship now starts off on somewhat of a tenuous position, because the warranty rep is already failing in the customer's eyes and doesn't give them the opportunity to really help them succeed. And if they're going to be the advocate for the next 12, 24 months, or potentially longer, depending on how long that customer care service is in that chair, we're putting an unnecessary burden on them by starting them off way behind the 8 ball. So to me, it's like your slides hit it perfectly, but that idea that we've got to carry that success, they're high, they're excited. The best part should be the day they move in And then as they get settled, they should be even more excited about their house. And it's just all too often that you see that fall off. And so the idea was for us, very similar to what y'all are doing, just to create one spot so that you can run it all the way through the process and keep track of everything.
Great. Well, thank you, Mike.
Hand it over to you, sir.
Love it. Love the ghost list.
No, I'm going to continue on a little bit, certainly with you start talking about the applications and the technology that keeps the consumer, the home buyer, apprised of the activities that go into building the home that they wanted to build. And so keeping to that thread, let me give you a little bit of background. The Hyphen Hub, our world is centered around builders and suppliers, and it has been from day one for us. And over the years, we've built add-on applications that really look at how we manage the before, during, and post-build part of the relationship for the customer along the way, along with giving the builders and the suppliers applications to do their jobs. But it's that data that we capture from that. It really helps cement that relationship for the builders as well. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things. One thing, obviously, Hyphen is very proud of, and our legacy was Build Pro, Supply Pro, but it really is that application that integrates into the ERP that allows for that data that we will use to populate warranty and to know who did the work and what contractor was there. We'll score the contractor. So there's a lot of information to be garnered from that information through Build Pro, Supply Pro. I do want to start, and the reason I bring that up is because there are some of our customers that the build to our contract to build really initially kind of set out to reduce their cycle time. And there's a builder that works with us and out of Canada, Jamin Builders, and they dropped their cycle time by 80 days. And they were trying to save money on cycle time. But in the end, what it did is really drove up their customer satisfaction and really drove their business differently. So it was a great thing, and it's really taken off for that type of a builder. But it doesn't apply to all of them, but certainly it does in that particular case. You know, one of the things that I want to be, what our vision really is about making sure data is entered one time, whether that be from the back office data, specifically your options, your POs, plan-specific information, then your lot product-specific schedules that are used by the field for scheduling, and then certainly the suppliers and the information they use. We want to make sure all that information is available for the ecosystem that exists to know how they're going to be effective in using the information and doing their jobs on a device and in a format of their choice. But really, it's also about what drives the warranty application, because warranty is integrated into our construction operation platform. So we know who the actual supplier was that did the work. If we've got a call on a warranty ticket and have them back out, and working with any number of builders on that service aspect of getting back to that consumer to say, hey, look, just like they feel an obligation that we owe them to make sure that they get their house taken care of. And that seems to be becoming more of a criteria for success than ever before. So, and certainly this is, I want to highlight a couple of things, because I want to keep it really true to what we're talking about today is the customer experience. And so we've got some tech that looks at visualization. I think we all know visualization and how it works for attracting lead gen, and certainly when we speak of warranty as well, all that information, as I pointed out, is populated through the ecosystem of itself. Let's get away from products. Let's talk about Hyphen, the visualization aspect of what really seemed to kind of take place, even really before. Y'all knew of visualization long before COVID, but it certainly was heightened during COVID for sure. It was cool tech. It is cool tech. It seemed to be that our industry was lagging and bringing this to the forefront. But it certainly has changed a lot of the way builders are looking at how they attract leads and prospects and customers going forward. You know, really and I had some experience with it. I've been with Hyphen for almost 10 years, but for about 10 months I was out at ILG, and I was on board to really help with getting visualization started for them. And so really what we look at this is this is really a way to drive lead gen, but really to elevate attachment to your products and services for sure. So whether you give the home buyer the experience of creating any number of designs, and it can be countless designs, you can save those designs. Those designs should be available to be sent and distributed to folks that they know or loved ones to review those designs and get feedback on them. And there's nothing like having some knowledge. So when you have a prospect or a prospective buyer come online and you ask for their name and email address, now you're capturing that information through CRM, and now your sales team has this really good, warm lead with outreach that really makes a difference in having a data point or two to connect with them, right? Anything that will make their job easier to help you keep that particular prospect and elevate the attachment to what you're doing is really what we're after. So it really helps with marketing, and we've seen that really become a great new kind of frontier for what we're doing as well. Certainly another thing about this tech is that it helps build confidence when you can work with a buyer and you've got curated packages or design trends. It really makes more for a building confidence with that particular buyer. Also helps secure that relationship even more. It speeds up the buying process. Everybody should be wanting to move people through that process. I've been through it before. I'm terrible with that. And it's just, I need help. I wouldn't be able to go in and design something like that. So it's really great to help within the design studio performance and all the metrics that come with it. I believe you spoke earlier about how it drives option sales. It was interesting. Yesterday I was speaking with a builder, and they had said in 5 years, their option revenue had jumped from 46,000 to 86,000, which was 96%. I was like, that is significant.
It is. It's like the one thing.
Yeah, fortunately it wasn't my system, but I was like, damn, how do you do that? Like, so it was really.
But you think about it, it's the
they
one
built
thing,
it.
you got high margin on those options. And once you've sold the house, like that's the biggest thing you can do to drive margin. It's incredible.
It really was. And it was a great conversation. And also I think when you start looking at all these different options, these interiors, and you start matching, countertops and flooring and all the different things that go into kitchens and master baths and bedrooms and things of that nature. You've got different types of technology. There's like slider technology, which is really cool. It shows you that. But I'm kind of a data guy, and what really you get out of this technology, is you get to see what the clicks are. You understand what trends are out, what trends are coming in design. You also get to know what SKUs are moving. As a purchasing person, wouldn't you want to know what's moving and what's not moving, right? And so that becomes very valuable. Also, to have the available inventory or showing the right products that a home buyer is interested in, right? So really neat stuff. Moving along here, I would like to I'll just talk on Build Pro for 2 minutes. Like I said, it's construction operations, but this is really neat because.
Well, and I'm gonna just interject here, and you can take as much time as you need. But I think sometimes the tools behind the scenes are what enable us to do a great job with the customer. Because if you actually don't know what's happening behind the scenes and how things are going, so sometimes it doesn't seem sexy, right? It's not like customer sexy, but it's so vital because you can't do it without the internal piece.
No, you can't. But I also wanted to highlight that with this thing called AI, it's coming. It's really going to help, drive schedules and drive cycle time. And cycle time, people are asking, hey, when will I be in my house? And our family, we built a lake house, and I mean, it took forever, and it was really disappointing. I was really hopeful that this builder would start using some technology, but it really is. It's about really making sure that when you commit to something, you tell somebody that this is when your move-in is, and AI will really help drive. But what really is great about it is that it will also show you how this happens, right? So you're learning what's going on behind the scene to make these adjustments in your schedule so that you can get to warranty and you can get the homeowner in the house, and along with the inspections along the way. So But here's another thing too: is our inspection as a walk list, it's the final walkthrough of the home. You want to be able to make sure that all those loose ends are tied up for the home buyer, and there's a way to manage that. And I'll go into a little bit of that when I talk about warranty. We utilize Taylor Morrison uses our product, and we've got a case study on that. We're in the middle of rebranding it, but I'll speak to it. But really, we want to make sure that the home is ready for the buyer when they're ready to come in, and everything is tracked. So I'll move into warranty. So this was, I'd like to say we really know what the market really needs, but with user groups and listening to builders and how they were going to want to serve their home buyers for the post build, we came up with an application that really speaks to the warranty, where the actual homeowner can create those tickets. They can come in and create a number of tickets, a number of items within each ticket. And then those tickets are managed specifically, and they go to, I guess, the builder's service coordinator. And speaking of the Taylor Morrison, they actually, depending on the severity of the ticket, that ticket can then be, they can send that to a customer service representative out in the field, all from an app. And if it just needs to go straight to the contractor that did the work, of course they can do that, because BuildPro captured all the detail that came from the construction aspect, which supplier was on it, when they were out there, colors, items, all that information. So it's very helpful, and that's why the ecosystem of having all that data available is very valuable. If you can see on one of those panels, it says coming soon, it's alerts. And this might speak to what Tim was saying with regards to changing out a water filter within a washer. So things that will make you aware of the things that you need to do to your home, which is really not a bad home, as he was pointing out, which is a great point. It's just there's maintenance on a home for sure, and we all have it. So, and then home progress. This is really neat. This is really kind of the start of where we're seeing some builders, like if you have certain milestones with the progression of the construction, you might have certain points within the schedule that says, hey, here's your foundation, here's framing, and here's those images, and here's what things are, how your house is progressing. So I think some buyers like to see that information, and it just depends on the builder. Some are very different about this approach, but along the way, you can capture, detail and construction operations of what's going on with each particular home. And all of this is meant to kind of create a portal experience for the home buyer, where all their warranty information is, and they can see home progress, and they can submit their tickets along the way. So really a cool and innovative tool and technology that really helps the home builder manage their customers through the process and post-build as well. So just wanted to highlight a couple things.
Great. No, I really, really like that. Again, it's just making sure you kind of have your act together internally, but then making it transparent, right? It's transparency. I mean, customers don't usually get upset if things are kind of in flux or there are issues or items. What they can't stand is a void of silence, right? Just a complete feeling ghosted, if you will. So that's great. So now we have John from Kolter Homes, who's going to just kind of give a builder voice or perspective to this topic as well.
Thank you. And thank you guys for sharing here. So I was asked to join it to provide the builder voice. And I think on this topic, the voice that matters most is the customers. We can say whatever we want about ourselves and pound our chests, but at the end of the day, your buyers want to hear what your customers are saying, and that's the voice they're going to listen to the most. So, there's all kinds of great technology these gentlemen offer and what you see on the trade show floor. But I think it's important to always keep in mind that technology does not create customer experience, it complements it. And so we learned that certainly coming out of COVID for us, it was, as many I'm sure did, you saw your supply chain issues. You saw, it exposed the weaknesses in your systems. And one of the clear weaknesses in our system that it exposed in terms of that customer journey is we did not have someone really on that ball. So I don't know by show of hand, well, there's not too many hands, but by the builders here, you know, we used to have our construction manager was the key point of contact back to the customer. They're great at yelling at trades. Their communication style does not necessarily adapt well to the customer who would like to know as they're, you know, sitting in their home and haven't been allowed to go out, like, hey, what's going on with that house? And, you know, Mikey doesn't necessarily share that in the most pleasant way possible or polished.
Not super empathetic, Mikey?
Hey, no, Mikey does a great job building a house, but we're unfairly tasking Mikey with a job and a skill set that isn't really his. So again, you can have great tools that can keep you apprised of what's going on, but at the end of the day, particularly for us, because our primary focus is on the active adult space, our customers want to be communicated with, as I think every customer wants to be communicated with. They want to, but more so, they want to know that they're heard, right? That somebody's listening. And if you have bad news to share, it's okay to share bad news as long as you're clearly sharing it with them when you said you're going to share it with them, et cetera. So they can log into whatever portals and see all the cool stuff. But if someone's not voicing that, and they know this is, I mean, whether it's $200,000 or $2 million, we sell the most precious, valuable commodity there is. I mean, it's home. There's no more powerful word in the English language. It's where the things that mean the most to you in life, the good memories, the bad memories, but really, we are blessed to be able to provide that to people. And so it's a big deal. And if they don't feel that as a builder, we're supporting that big deal, you get problems. So as I mentioned, you know, they quickly exposed to us, we have unfairly put onto our construction managers a role that they really should not be trying to fill. And so it inspired us to create a whole new role, which is we call them CEAs internally, but it's a customer experience advisor. And this individual starts with the home buyer at contract, basically, once they go through design, and goes through with them all the way through the process to close, and make sure the handoff happens with warranty, but they are truly their advisor, their advocate, their guide. And so we also make sure that they don't report to construction, just like we don't have warranty report to construction. Because in those sorts of situations, guess who gets to punch the house? Not the construction manager to make sure that it's, you know, ready for closing. Oh, well, it's the ghost list that somebody mentioned. You know, oh, it'll get taken care of after the fact. No. And so, you know, you need to empower your team members and truly empower, and, you know, people that care about what they're doing and care about that mission. So as far as tools go, there's so many different options out there, and there's always opportunities to up your game, and there's some great things these guys have showed and you'll see out there to further the experience digitally. A tool that we've used internally that I would highly recommend is asking everybody to read a book, which is written by a human. It's called Uncompromising Hospitality. Has anyone heard of it? By a guy named Will Gadara, thank you.
That guy.
That guy, Will Gadara. And it comes from the hospitality industry. He worked with a restaurant group, but basically he took 11 Madison Park to the #1 restaurant in the world, he and his partner. And again, we all build nice homes, just like fine restaurants have nice linens, they put great ingredients on your plate, they do all that. But what made them the #1 restaurant in the world was the experience. And so they actually created Dream Weavers. It's a great book. Yeah. I highly recommend it, and I highly recommend you have your team, anyone who's on the front line, read this book to understand what truly uncompromising hospitality means, because it absolutely lends itself very well to what we do as an industry, should do as an industry, and how we should treat our customers. So that's my spiel.
Yeah, I love it. And that is an amazing book. It's Unreasonable Hospitality. And if you watch the series The Bear, anybody who watched that, some people think it's a train wreck. I think it's absolutely great. It was rated as a comedy somehow. But they mention that book, and they are all about the experience. So it is a great book. Another great book is Power of Moments. If you've not read that one, that's a really quick read. and is really great on the experience. I love what I love, John, about really what you said was, one, you just kind of self-professed in a way. It's like you actually studied the customer journey and you found your weak spot and you fixed it. Like, I think so many builders are just afraid to even look. Like,
Well, if I
we
could
don't even
go-
want to
yeah.
do the journey map.
You know, I'm sure everyone, you know, you do some sort of surveying, and surveys are great, but they're really great if you actually listen and use them.
Oh,
You know,
wait,
I
let's
mean,
write that down. We have to
yeah.
read them.
You,
and
you
understand.
actually have to
Oh.
read them. And there are AI tools that'll summarize it all for you as well to tell you what common themes are, et cetera. But highly, you know, if you're not listening to your surveys, you listen to your customers. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we all know the answers are in the field. That's where you have to go find them. But listen to your customers via survey. I mean, it shaped how we changed our design process. It shaped so much, but that's you got to keep your pulse on what's going on, what your customers are telling you. We can go read what a Google review is, but if you know your survey tool, it should be. We start our meetings with talking about what the surveys were. If leadership has to make it a priority in order for it to be a priority for everybody. So strongly, thank you for mentioning that. You know, we all survey, but then if you ask, well, what do you guys do with your surveys?
We pay our bonus.
You know,
based on that.
because they read them, or do they? Like, you know, so again, as leadership, you need to inspect what you expect,
Yeah.
right? You got to demonstrate the priority so it becomes a priority.
Yeah, I'm going to cry, I think. I mean, it's like leadership actually reads the surveys, which is so important. And that is what we're hearing in all other industries as well. CEOs are now, I mean, it used to be if you were on the front line, that was kind of your job, like to read the surveys and then stop having unhappy customers. What is your problem? Why do you have unhappy customers? And now it's become part of like the culture and the DNA of how companies are actually measuring themselves and running
Well, I
themselves.
think, Melissa, it's what you come back to earlier, you know, well, now we actually think customer experience matters.
Right.
Because again, we all build a good product. Right? I mean, we all do the good stuff. They have the good, the appliances, the features. It all has the good stuff. So at the end of the day, what drives your profitability? It's the soft services, and that starts with experience. That ultimately is what is going to push your margin up. You can only get so much out of what you can get so much out of in terms of hard goods and everything else. What drives the difference is the service. You know, there's a value in that.
Yeah.
People will pay for great service. So if you can provide great service, you are going to make more money.
Yeah.
You know, think of the customer first. I can't remember who said the quote. I'm sure many have. But, you know, as long as you always put the customer first, the money's going to come.
Yes, they'll keep you in business for sure. It looks like we have a question, and I'll let you say your question and then I'll repeat it for the video and then we'll answer.
Sure. So, again, like many builders, you probably use digital tools, et cetera, and all that, you know, stuff to communicate. But it's, you know, an email without a face, so it doesn't really matter whose name is on there. So after their design experience, we when they finalize on their design, there's a little bit of a celebration we do, and that at that moment is when the human being who's going to be my customer experience advisor, we map out our whole process, how sales hands to design, and then how now design, it used to be would hand to construction. Now they hand to the customer experience advisor. So they're part of that celebration when they've completed their design selections. And John now is going to be your customer experience advisor. And I'm going to find out, and obviously in your back notes and all in your CRM, you know what your priorities are and all those good things. And then we have scheduled meetings. So at that time, we're going to schedule your next meeting with us. We always try to schedule whatever our next experience is, it's on their calendar. Particularly important on the warranty side. Somebody closes, when we do the handoff with our warranty tech, which the CEA, again, carries through with them, meets with them, and I'm sure you guys do pre-drywall walks and, you know, all the different stuff. They're always the person that does that. They're always the person that gets on the phone, if that's my preferred method of communication, if it's text, whatever it is. But that's that individual. But we make sure they meet them in person at that moment of design. Because that, as we talked about, you know, sometimes it's good to say it's all downhill from here, but not when you're looking at the slide that Tim had up there, when it's up here at sales and it's all downhill from here to closing.
You're such a downer.
And such a downer.
That's not the downhill we're after. So we want to try to maintain that level as high as we can. And the reality is it is always going to dip a bit because you got the euphoria of it's over. Just like you drive off the lot with the new car and then you start driving a little bit and it's like, you know, human nature is it's going to start coming down. It's just, you don't want it to come down as far as perhaps we saw some of the lines on that chart showing. So hopefully that answered your question in terms of how they're integrated in, but they're the human face. They're at every meeting. They're, when they sit down with them to do pre-con, it's the CEA who does it. It's not Mikey, the construction manager. They'll communicate to all our back office people what do they need to know for this, but they're going to be the individual that at every one of those, and we probably have 4 or 5 different meetings before closing, and then they hand off to warranty. But again, at that end of that closing, let's right now set your 2-month inspection when we come back and just see how the house is functioning and living for you. So they know that's that peace of mind that, okay, in 2 months from now, I don't have to report it next week and nobody's in 2 months from now, and here's the list, and we give them all the tools they need to mark everything down that you want. And then at the end of the 2 month, hey, let's set the time right now for your 11th month follow-up. Because we want to make sure before your 1 year warranties expire that we are able to go through everything with you. And again, it's peace of mind. And so hopefully that answered the question in terms of how CEA works and just kind of the contact point flow.
Yeah, it's just such a great role, and I truly have not heard of this before. I do get out and about.
I hope more builders do it.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it only helps our industry. People, we can't share, we can't. No, we need to employ best practices across our industry if we can. It only helps all of us.
Right. Well,
and improves that perception of that line going down. We'd like to see it going up for all of us, and that buying a new home is a great thing. It's not an overwhelming thing, a scary thing. It's a great thing to do.
Yeah,
it's a fun thing to do.
And unfortunately, or fortunately, there is a new home brand, right? So regardless of which builder you are, people have impressions of home builders, right? And sometimes it's not great, right? So any home builder messing up somewhere or having a bad reputation kind of brings us all down, right? So I think you're right. I think the more, and very rarely are we actually competing head to head, with another builder. Occasionally you will, but it's really, really important. I have one question. I know you said that person doesn't report to construction. Where does that person report into?
They actually report into our community director.
Gotcha.
So the community, or whatever, community manager, whatever, but basically the person responsible for that job. So they're actually getting from the front lines what really is happening. It's not getting filtered through. So they report directly to the community director.
And I'm sure the ROI on that person is very positive.
It was a tough sell. You're adding a role, not going to lie, you're looking at overhead. Obviously you want to be as efficient as possible, but ultimately, at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. And when you see your customer satisfaction ratings going up at rates, they were going down. And particularly after COVID, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, we're not kind of shying our eyes away from when the report comes in of where things are at. It pays for itself.
Right. Well, and some builders, it's the salesperson who kind of tries to carry that relationship. I love salespeople. I mean, I've been in sales, but they're not necessarily good nurturers. I mean, they're going to go on to the next kill, right? It's like, I got my contract. So it's not even something they're necessarily excited about or good at, and nor do you want them to. You want them to move on to.
No, see, again, and why this is important to me as the marketing guy, they're a great referral source. They're the CEAs, we have kind of programmed in like, oh, this has been great. I love it. Well, do you have any friends or family? They are a great referral source for us. So, I love them because, like I said at the beginning, the more we get referral, the less we have to spend on marketing.
Yes.
And that's a good thing.
Oh, that is a good thing. That is. Any other questions from our audience?
Sure. I'll give you many examples, but it starts with listening. I mean, really, the whole premise, if you haven't read the book, and I'm not going to do a spoiler, but the idea is to create these unexpected moments of joy, right? But and how do you create those unexpected moments? The only way you do that is by listening. So what are priorities? What's very important? So we had a builder at Crestwood, Charlotte. He was building the house for the CEA and the builder, but the CEA was talking to him, and this gentleman, his father had passed away, and his father, I believe, he was in the military. I can't remember what branch off the top of my head. But, he had received the flag, and he was really proud of the fact that, they were going to have they did the fireplace, and they wanted to have the framed flag put over, they were going to have it framed and put over the mantle. And so the CEA had talked about it, and the builder took it upon himself to build the triangle, for that to be done, so that when they went to closing and they went into the house to look for the first time, there it was waiting for his dad's flag.
Wow.
Get a little goosebumps, but
Yes.
that's the kind of, if you empower you, and he did it himself. He felt, obviously Aaron, who's the construction manager who did that, I'm gonna tell you he got a pretty good rating for the build on that house. And it was a great experience, but more than that, if you allow your employees, your team members to be human and to, feel for people, listen to people, that's the kind of experiences, and that's what comes out of that book and that we try to employ. I believe they call them dream weavers or dream catchers in the book. So they actually have staff to do it. We don't have it to the level of somebody who's just listening to everything and looking for those opportunities, but we absolutely encourage our teams to do that. And when they do something like that, celebrate it organizationally wide. Let everybody in the company know that story of what was done to inspire them to create, a similar moment for one of their customers.
Yeah. Well, it's about creating that culture, right?
Absolutely.
And it is interesting. It's like you have frontline people now that are good at communication, but you clearly have permeated that culture beyond just the front line, right? Because the front line is only as good as behind the scenes, right?
Our org chart is actually inverted. Our front line is on the top, our president is on the bottom.
Oh my gosh. This is awesome. This is awesome.
Because that is ultimately, and that's our president. But anyway, that's just the way he is, and that's how he runs the organization. But that's absolutely the front line. It's the Ritz-Carlton mentality. We're serving the servers.
Yeah. And there's another great book out there, Servant Leadership, if you've not read that, which is exactly what they're talking about. So I think I don't know how to go any higher than this. Like that's kind of a drop the mic moment. But I do want to ask our panelists any parting comments or words of wisdom. If you had one thing to say builders start doing or stop doing, what would that be? And of course, I'll pick on you, Tim.
Pick on me first. I think it's consistency. We get chewed apart because we're not consistent, whether it's from our how we portray ourselves at the beginning and our marketing efforts to how we finish with this, or even just a little minutia of it. But if we can focus, and it's also an easy takeaway, just start by being consistent. Yeah. With your coworkers, with your customers, with your systems.
Great.
Yeah. So kind of building on that and walking out of this very design-centric meeting that we'll had over the last couple of days, don't commit to things you can't do. I feel like that's the quickest way to disappoint somebody, whether it's home building or your wife, either one. When you
Are there issues we should know about?
Nah, she's 6 hours away. We're good. But going out and trying to do something that your trades can't do or they're not ready to do, almost always is going to end up costing you money and costing you customer satisfaction. So making sure that you're offering a product that you can and should be offering to the market, I think is always a good place to start.
Great.
I just say for technology, just embrace change and commit to it, and find the right people that can help lead that for you in your organization. They're there, and it's quite the journey. It's exciting when it all comes together, but it's a good ride.
I would, again, there's great tech, but always look at tech as a complement to what you're doing on the human side, because those connections are ultimately what drive satisfaction, drive referrals, drive business. So always think of the tech. I don't look at it as how can this replace someone? How can it empower someone on my team?
Great. Love it. The word empower. All right. On that note, we are going to wrap up. Thank you so much.